it's been too long. It's not been long enough. But it has in fact been 3 whole months since I put face to lens and made a video. It's a quarter of a year. That's a fair old chunk of time. So I thought it was about time I broke that trend and indeed put face to lens and make a video. So here I am doing just that. The reason why I haven't made a video in 3 months is because I can't think of anything to make a video about. However, sorry, I've got a spider dangling off my... There he is. Little green chappy. I want to take him outside because outside is exactly where we're going for the subject matter of this video. About a year ago, just over a year ago, I made a video. He's still dangling there, look, there's a tiny wee thing. I made a video called a garden vlog in which I outlined my plans for the garden and the whole self-sufficiency thing. Well, we may not be... I'll dangle him there, right, he's right in front of me. There he is. Oh, shit, sorry. He's on the carpet. There he goes. Little fella. Come on. Right, so the spider has been safely relocated to the outside world where he belongs. Let's take you outside and I'll show you the garden. It's a little bit different from when I took you around it before. Let's go and have a look, shall we? This way. One of the many suggestions that I got from you guys on my last video for planting out this back garden was to use the raised bed system as opposed to digging into the soil itself, which the soil isn't great. Very heavy clay like soil, which is good for some things, but it's obviously not good for others. And the raised bed system solves that problem by allowing me to have whatever kind of soil I want in a particular bed. So the raised bed system is what I went for, and this is what we have now. I think about 10 beds in total. Those 2 beds here were actually the first ones I built before I really knew what I was doing, and then I got some pallets from work and built this collection here. So there's actually 8 very deep beds. I think these beds are about 18 inches deep.
And I helped!
So there's plenty of room for the plants to send their roots down. Well, we planted garlic last year, back in November, so that's garlic there, here, and here. Different variety. I sent away for some gourmet varieties online, so I'm looking forward to tasting them come August. Got our little gem lettuces here, their bird protection now. Well, actually dog protection more than anything. We've got a deep bed for, sorry, a raised bed here for potatoes. We've got little pots here of which I put potatoes in. You can see there's a pot there, and over here got a whole selection of pots full of potatoes. So we're going to pull them as new potatoes, and the potatoes that are in the beds are going to be the, I don't know, the regular ones, as it were. We have cauliflowers, cabbages, leeks, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, Swedes, beetroots, that's the carrots and the onions, and an idea that a friend in the work suggested. And it's, again, it's this whole recycling thing, but these are old 2-litre water bottles, and when I was thinning the plants out, which I hate the idea of just thinning them out and then throwing them away because it's a potential piece of food, isn't it? So we filled these with compost and we've put the thinners, as it were, in there. Now if nothing comes of these, then, you know, we haven't lost anything. And so we've got some Swedes, we've got some carrots and some parsnips, which were actually planted from seed in these bottles, and they're coming along well. There's a few more in the greenhouse as well.
And I helped!
One of the other additions that I made to the garden, we obviously want to grow as much of our own stuff as possible and flavour it as well, which means herbs. And of course with a certain member of the family, namely, yes, we don't want him territorialising his garden, or rather our herbs, with his markings, as it were. So I built these window boxes to have these little elevated herb gardens. We've got some herbs still on the ground. There's some chives and rosemary, and we've got mint there, some more rosemary. We've got sweet marjoram, lovage, which I've yet to find out what to use it for, oregano, chamomile, and spinach. Now the reason I grow spinach is it's a nice salad leaf to put on my sandwiches for taking into work. Normally I would just come down in the morning, rip off 3 or 4, maybe 5 or 6 small leaves. Not so this year. 1 pair by the looks of things. And this one we've got thyme, There's some nasturtium there, which you can eat, the leaves and the flowers, I think. The leaves have a nice peppery feel. Dog needs oiled by the sound of it. Got some sage, parsley, got some dill here, lemon balm. You'll notice there I've got a solar panel. Well, that actually powers some downlighters that I bought. I had to make these little brackets to, oh sorry, they're actually uplighters, deck uplighters. Yeah, so I had to make these little brackets to house them. They give a really nice effect in the evening. But this is my favourite box, this one here. We've got oregano, chives, more lemon balm, tansy, which I'm not actually sure what to do with yet, fennel, and more sage. Now, as you know, I like to try and do everything as organically as possible, and that includes pest control. And one of the worst pests in the garden, especially for large leaved plants, is slugs and snails. I want to try and encourage as much natural predation as possible. And for slugs and snails, that obviously means frogs. So, for that purpose, I've made this little pond in the bottom corner. This was one of those corners that I couldn't really think of anything to do. It doesn't get much light, you know, the odd bit of sunlight, shaft of sunlight during the day. But it turns out it's the perfect place for this little pond. A little rockery there with hostas and begonias, things that don't need a lot of direct sunlight. I have another set of those solar uplighters, downlighters, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to put them in the path and along those logs, so that should look quite nice at night. There is a reason why poor old Max is in the house, and that reason is twofold. Yes, you can actually hear it's mud bath time for Chica and Corma. Yes, you. This is one of their favourite spots where they can just bask in the sun, or they're in the shade at the moment just having a lovely little mud bath. This is the run for them that I've built. I was going to build my own chicken coop, but time and the actual expense of just buying the wood meant that it was almost as easy just to buy a ready-made one, and it's actually quite nice, to be honest with you. These ready-made coops, come back a bit and you can maybe see it a little bit clearer. You know, it looks nice at the bottom of the garden, and as I say, I've just built this run, which I think these chickens are actually movie fans. One film in particular, because they do seem to be making an awfully good attempt at getting out of this thing. We've clipped their wings, but they're still managing to gain a reasonable amount of altitude and are circumventing my security perimeter, which means I keep having to raise it and raise it and raise it and raise it.
Now let that be a lesson to the lot of you! No chicken escapes!
We're not wholly self-sufficient yet, but it's the thought that counts, rather than the actual execution, as it were. I shouldn't say execution next to the chicken, should I? This is the greenhouse. I mean, we've got our peppers, tomatoes, some more lettuce, and these little babies, hops. I ordered these seeds online. It took a while to come up, but now that they're up, they're actually starting to grow quite rapidly. And the idea there, of course, is to harvest the hop berries or flowers or whatever the hell that hops produce, and make my own beer. Of course, the whole recycling thing. Here we have some chicken poo and remnants from their bedding, so we let that dry out, we stick that in the compost heap. What comes out goes back in again. We're getting there. You know, it's not quite a small holding, but it's fun, which is the most important thing, and it's all experience. Last year was a learning curve, to say the least, and of course I didn't really know what I was doing last year, so last year was a trial. Well, when I say last year was a trial run, every year's a trial run, and the minute you start to think that you know everything you need to know about gardening, that's when nature goes and proves you wholly wrong. So every year's going to be a learning curve, but the more you learn, the better you get. Practice makes perfect, shall we say. So I hope you enjoyed that little jaunt round the garden. Nothing special, feeble excuse to make a video really, but I thought it was about time that I get off the old bahookie and do something. This time I'll actually try and keep you updated as the garden grows. We'll see you soon. Toodaloo.
And I helped.